I just read the excerpt, Craig, but expound on this more. You think Bill Belichick favors defense over the offense to a fault, and it continues to this day?
Correct. I mean, look, I just want to be clear about this. This wasn't about DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins was like the final straw. After not addressing offensive tackle, after having no tight end signed for next year, after not adding anything at wide receiver, and they still don't have much of a room there beyond this year. So Hopkins was sort of the final frustration. Just look at his history. What offensive talent have they brought in from the outside that is number one, first day, morning of free agency type stuff? It's never happened, ever, at any position. I hear from Patriots fans, they're like, what about Antonio Brown? 2 days before the season opener, not doing any due diligence on the guy and handing him $10 million is not an example. It's an illustration of the problem. That the reason they had to get to that point is because they didn't do jack at any of the positions. Tom Brady's out there on a practice field with nobody in Detroit to throw to. Tom Brady signs his one-year deal where he's going to be out. He's finally like, I've had enough of it. Those type of deals Bill does all the time. But I'm talking about, what about on defense? Adalius Thomas, first moments of free agency. Darrelle Revis, which is basically the DeAndre Hopkins of defense. He got his market value. He got his one-year contract with a dummy year to make it work. Stephon Gilmore, first minutes of, he needs a cornerback. Malcolm Butler wouldn't take the deal. Opening minutes of free agency. Matthew Judon, none of his edge players worked out. Chase Winovich, whoever. Matthew Judon, first moments of free agency. I mean, what else do I need to say? The examples are right there. He never spends on offense, and he'll always give the defense what they need.
And he should spend on offense because this is where the draft hurts them in two ways, right? They've struggled to draft at the wide receiver position in those high-level positions early in the draft. And because of that, they can't give away their draft picks. We bring up Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen against Stephon Diggs. They have to give up draft picks for that. Same with A.J. Brown going to Philadelphia so they can see what Jalen Hurts is. And then Tyreek Hill going to Miami. They're not in a spot where they can really give away first-round picks for a high-end number one.
Well, Greg, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, my thing about it is, if you're Bill Belichick, who is the greatest defensive mind maybe the NFL has ever seen, why aren't you going with less talent on defense? You could play zone defense and try to hold teams under 30, which is basically what they've done in the last 2 years. Okay? Why wouldn't you overload on offense, where it just takes one guy to make one cut and boom, it's a touchdown, it's 7 points and changes the game? I don't understand why he's stuck in his ways, which he obviously is, which he should look at the 2011 Patriots. Great offense. Horrible defense. To the point where Julian Edelman is playing slot receiver against Anquan Bolden in the AFC Championship game. And guess what? They made it work. They went to a slot corner. They made it work. So I don't understand why he keeps spending on defense and special teams, but he keeps leaving the offense short.
Okay, why do you think they came up short on Hopkins specifically?
The money. They wouldn't go to the money. When we talked about this before, I said, look, DeAndre Hopkins is a guy who is going to take the best deal. What are the chances that the Patriots are going to give him the best deal? Minimal. So he's not coming here. It's the same thing with Dalvin Cook. It's nice to talk about. It makes sense football-wise, but Patriots aren't going to give him $7-9 million a year.
Let me ask you another one, and I asked this the other night. I'll do it to you as well. What if Steve Belichick coached receivers?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, let me give you another one.
Factual.
Let me give you another one. What if Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback?
That's possible.
You know what I mean? I think these little petty things factor in as well. I think he wants to take care of his kids on the defensive side of the ball. I think he has a problem with Mac Jones, isn't really interested in doing him any favors. He wanted the player, but it's not like I'm going to get that guy come hell or high water to take care of my quarterback. If his boy Jimmy, though, was the quarterback, do you think he would have found a few extra shekels there in his pants for DeAndre Hopkins? Maybe. And I think this is the way Bill operates. Are you my guy or are you not my guy? I'll take care of my people. I'm not going to take care of if you're not my people. And I think that the quarterback is very rarely his people. And the offensive is very rarely his people. His sons are on the defensive, et cetera, et cetera. I think it all plays in.
It probably does. I just can't say it's a Mac Jones thing because he did the same stuff to Brady, especially at the end. So many times.
Yeah, he also hated him at the end.
He also hated him at the end. But, you even look at this year's draft. Okay, Christian Gonzalez was a need pick. Okay? Keon White in the second round is going to back up Dietrich Wise. It's a depth pick on defense. Marte Mapu, I really like. I think he's going to be a star. I think they hit on it. Still a depth draft pick where they have plenty of safeties. Yet bypassing 5 tight ends went in the second round. Never got one. Tackles kept going. Never got one. Like he defaults to defense. Coaches do this, but it's just enough is enough. If it doesn't work this year, and this was the point of my column, if it doesn't work this year, like this needs to be an indictment on Bill, possibly the final indictment on him. He gets his chance. He gets his chance to make it work. He's earned that. But it's got to work or it's got to be used against him.
I mean, if it's just a few $1 million with DeAndre Hopkins, why do they mess around with the incentives and everything else? Like, what's the point of that? Because if you're going to sign the guy, don't you want him to be extremely productive for you? So even offering an incentive-laden deal, especially when you know what the number is out there for Tennessee, why?
I think it's just to get it on their terms.
Yeah.
You know, you have to show up to get your money. We have the leverage because you've got to show up to get the money. You don't have it in your pocket. It's simple as that, Tom. And it permeates the organization, by the way. That's not just Bill and receivers.
I mean, about the money, what makes it even more ridiculous is like all you had to do was release or trade Devontae Parker. That was $6 million that you would just get. So you would only have to pay DeAndre Hopkins like $9 million more. Why would you want DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Parker?
Hopkins.
Are they wasting Mac Jones' rookie contract?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's absurd. Like, you know, you look at all these other teams, you look at what they have on the books, and you're just like, all right, well, where's the talent? Where's it going? I mean, maybe if they would have extended somebody by now, Duggar or Owenu, anybody who's up, you could say, okay, they're securing the future. They're using the savings there. They haven't done that either.